The one thing I think future leaders need to learn is how to make constraints beautiful. We're moving into a world where we will all have constraints of resource, of talent, of distribution, of R&D, and we're going to have ambitious growth targets in the face of those constraints. And we are going to need to learn how to not regard those as limitations to manage around, but how to make them work to our advantage. How we take those apparent limitations, we motivate a team to actually find new possibilities in them, new ecosystems, new kinds of relationships, entirely new kinds of ways of taking ourselves to market. It's going to require inventiveness as well as innovation, and we need to lean into and embrace how exciting that's going to be. I think leadership in marketing is going to evolve. It's not simply going to be about how we help our teams become good marketers. It's about how we develop a new kind of muscularity in our teams to cope with the changes that we're seeing and to respond to the constraints that we're going to be working with, to respond to the fundamental way in which strategy is evolving, because there's this new generation of consumers who aren't accepting trade-offs anymore, to respond to the fact that we need to be inventive as an organisation rather than innovative as an organisation. That is going to fall very much at the feet and responsibility of marketers, and we need to decide if we want to step up to it or not. The idea of Uber's children is there's a new generation of brands, and we'll take Uber as the kind of, the symbol of the poster child of those brands, that are not accepting that there need to be trade-offs anymore, that are taking two apparently polar opposites and reconciling those two things for consumers. Good value and aspirational, or cleans well and ethically sourced. People like Zara, people like Method in home cleaning, people like Chipotle, people like Lidl, actually, you could argue, in retailing. A lot of Rent the Runway, a lot of these brands are taking two apparently opposite poles and combining them in terms of what consumers want. And that means that they're training a group of people who we'll call Uber's children. We're not necessarily just millennials, this is all of us in some way. Think of your reaction to Amazon Prime and your intolerance now of other people who make you wait a long time for something. We're training us as Uber's children not to accept that there have to be trade-offs anymore in the category. We want everything and we want it now, and we don't see why anybody should be making us accept that there are trade-offs. And most of us are not responding to that. And we're allowing ourselves to be depositioned by other brands that are. They may not be eating our lunch yet, but they're on our way. And if we don't do something about it now, we are going to be history. When I started writing about challenger brands in 98, 99, people didn't really talk about challenger brands at all. They talked about market leader was the model. What's interesting, I think, now is that the challenger model has become almost the default model. And even big market leaders tend to talk about the need to have a challenger mindset. Why? Because actually categories are changing so much all the time. New players are coming in all the time. That need to say that even if I've got a big kind of strong market leader position, I need to have the mindset of a challenger to keep me nimble and agile going forward. It's become absolutely fundamental. So I think that's affecting the way that marketers are obliged to think. I think it's affecting the way that they are asked to think about their resources. I think it's the way that they're asked to think about their ambitions and actually fundamentally changing the kinds of people that we're looking for and how you build teams around them.